Hey guys, Anchi with some spicy quick picks for Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I don't usually do all these fight night picks, but this is such a good card that I'm going to do some small picks, quick picks. So don't take them too seriously because obviously I'm not putting a whole lot of thought into them. But these are just going to be my quick picks. Here we go. First fight on the main card is Joel Alvarez versus Elvis Brenner. Joel Alvarez, I'm not really sure if he's had too many fights in the UFC. He's had a few losses. Elvis Brenner, Oliveira's protege, fanboy, lover boy. Nah, cut that out. He's coming off a couple of losses. He's had some tough fights, but he's been competitive. But both of these guys are big lightweights and they struggle with the weight. So it's anyone's fight. But Elvis Brenner, yeah, I'm going to go with him just because he trains for Oliveira and I don't really know if Joel Alvarez is quite on his level. So I've got Elvis Brenner by a submission. Next fight of the night, we have Mackenzie Dern versus Lupi Godinez. Mackenzie Dern's coming off a few losses. Lupi Godinez, she's an up-and-coming fighter. I feel like she's still finding her game, whereas Mackenzie's kind of shown really big holes in her game and just not won the bigger fights. So I'm picking Lupi Godinez to win this because I just think it's going to be hard for Mackenzie Dern to get back on in that elite part of the division. I feel like she's just been through a lot of disappointment. So yeah, I'm picking Lupi Godinez to win this fight by a decision. Okay, this is where it gets interesting now. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. This fight's flown under the radar, but I can understand why, because Tony is washed up. He's a shell of how good he was and sounds really awful. Michael Chiesa hasn't really been performing the best lately. He's kind of had one foot out the door. It's tough to say for this fight because it always seems like a winnable fight for Tony. And if you look at his losses, he's been fighting really elite guys. Even Paddy, Paddy's been looking good. So that all of his losses have aged really well. But Michael Chiesa, he hasn't been active recently. I would pick Tony, but I just feel like it's been too many losses for him. And I feel like Michael Chiesa will get him down and submit him because Tony's just one step behind now with his reaction time. It's so frustrating to watch because you can tell that he knows better, but the curse of getting older is that better fight IQ, but the body can't keep up with it anymore. So it sucks. So I'm picking Michael Chiesa with a sub, but I really hope Tony Ferguson gets a win. Marlon Vera and Davison Figueiredo. Davison Figueiredo has been looking very good at bantamweight. Marlon Vera's coming off that disappointing fight against O'Malley where he didn't really get anything going against O'Malley. O'Malley was just too quick for him. I feel like Figueiredo is probably going to be not any better for Vera at this stage. I mean, it's quite mean for me to say, but I feel like Marlon Vera is coming off a lot of damage and a lot of disappointment. And even though he's shown that he is eager, he's just not pulling the trigger enough. And I think that now that's going to be his biggest curse. And against someone as fast as Figueiredo, I think that's going to be a problem. So I've got Figueiredo by decision because I don't think Figueiredo will be able to sub Vera. And Vera probably has a better chance on the ground. So yeah, I'll go with Davison Figueiredo by decision, but don't be surprised to see Marlon Vera get him to the ground and choke him out. Just because Vera has so much length on Davison, he's going to have a massive advantage with jiu-jitsu. So yeah, if Marlon Vera does fight smart and takes Figueiredo down, he'll get a sub. But I'll just go with Figueiredo by decision just because Figueiredo still seems very switched on, and Figueiredo is a champion and one of the greatest flyweights of all time. So I'm not counting Figueiredo out just because of that mindset. Okay, Shara Putin Magomedov versus Mikhail Olendzeichuk. Sarah Putin is an interesting fighter, not just because he's blind in one eye, but he's undefeated. Seems really strange because he's not really, in my opinion, the best well-rounded fighter. He's definitely got a flair about his fighting and he is talented, but he hasn't really filled out his skill set. And also, if you put him up against any legit fighter, they will know just to fight in his blind spot. I mean, that's what GSP did to Michael. That's why GSP beat Michael at middleweight. Yeah, I hated that when that happened because GSP knew that. He knew, see, if you're a smart fighter, I mean, GSP is a very smart fighter. You know that all you need to do is target the blind spot and you can knock them out, but none of his other fighters have capitalized on that. Having said that, it's remarkable that this man is able to fight with one eye. Like, that is just incredible, and the fact that he's undefeated just seems strange. So he's good enough that he can make up for that. Yeah, so he's an interesting fighter. I feel like he could still probably win against Mikhail Olendzeichuk, but I'm kind of baffled, to be honest, because he's handicapped because he can only see out of one eye, but he's also not as developed as some other fighters, in my opinion. So I just think it's quite remarkable that he's undefeated. Having said all that, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a win because Alan Zaychek's on a skid now, and I guess Shara Putin has something about him, so I'll just go with him anyway. But I'm amazed that, oh, Kitty, Kitty in the window. Yeah, I'm just surprised that he's been able to win. So this is tough because of that, but I'll just pick him just because he's undefeated, which is really stupid after everything I said. But I'll just pick him anyway. I'll go with a knockout. Okay, the main event, Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I feel like Corey doesn't get any respect at all, any recognition for who he is. Like, I even forgot about him because the UFC don't talk about him. They just talk about O'Malley and who he's going to fight next. Corey Sandhagen is the best matchup for O'Malley. He could beat him. Although by the time he gets to him, yeah, I feel this about so many fighters. By the time they get to O'Malley, they're bung up, like Merab's bung up. Anyway, that's not this fight. Corey Sandhagen could very well be the best bantamweight in the world right now. And I'm not just saying that. I feel like he's rounded out his grappling game to be enough of a threat on the ground. And he can fight comfortably anywhere now. Nurmagomedov could be very overhyped. We don't really know yet, but because he's Nurmagomedov, everyone thinks he's amazing and undefeated, so props to him. But who the hell has he beaten? Let me just quickly see. Yeah, I don't really know anyone that Umar Nurmagomedov has beaten. There's Brian Kelleher, who is a bit of a journeyman, and that's the only name I can recognize, so that's very telling for me. And also, Umar has only been fighting once a year recently. Corey had his injury too, so he's had his setbacks, but Corey's been fighting elite fighters for much longer than Umar. And Corey, he's so good. He should be the champion. Oh my God, don't get me onto this, but yeah, I'm picking Corey for the upset here. I think that people are just completely overlooking Corey for superficial reasons. I'm not saying Umar isn't good, but he hasn't fought the competition, and he might, just buzzsaw through Corey Sandhagen. That's possible as well. It's always very hard to know when you get these undefeated fighters that haven't gone to that next level yet. So that could happen. He could be like Islam. He could be like Habib, but we just don't know. But to count Corey out is ridiculous because, in my opinion, Corey is, alongside O'Malley, he is the best bantamweight in the world. I'm picking Corey to get the upset, I would say by a decision. But yeah, don't count on my picks. These are just quick picks. Yeah, I'm definitely picking Corey for the upset. Yeah, this is a really good card. Enjoy it. Thank you for coming by and thank you for the support. And enjoy the fights. I might do this more often. Quick picks. So yeah, see you around the traps. Bye. Take care.